All right, well, we've had multiple weeks now of media experiments, and thank you for bearing with me through those. This is the final kind of sum up of what I've learned or discovered with them. So I started with acrylic gouache and colored pencil. If you know my work, you know I usually work in watercolor. Both of these mediums I was not very familiar with at all. So the acrylic gouache I liked. It was interesting, but it dried really fast. If you're used to painting in acrylics, I think you'd be fine. I hate acrylics because they dry so fast and they just get like tacky and gummy and stuff. So I was not a fan of the acrylic gouache either, but I can see that it has its purposes. Like, I don't know if you can see that, it's kind of small, but how it can be used really well for detail work because it won't re-wet. And so while that's irritating on the one hand, it's really nice on the other hand if you want part of your painting to not just smear into oblivion when you cover it. So I do think that that was cool. And then the colored pencil, I have nerve damage in my hands, and so some things I can still do okay, like painting. Other things are a little difficult. For some reason, holding colored pencils and using, like, because you have to use a lot of pressure with colored pencils, or at least I do. That's really hard for me. If you have normal functioning hands, then that will probably not be an issue for you. I really liked the texture that I was able to get out of the colored pencil, and it was fun to be able to outline, like I did this guy in pink, and that was a lot of fun because I'm used to using micron pens. So the different color variations and the different textures are really fun, and I just barely scratched the surface. I've seen people make really amazing stuff with colored pencils. This was just the only way I felt like doing it, honestly. All right, so that's that one. And then I went to watercolor, which I like so much better. And I just kind of slapped it on here, trying to paint super loosely and basically just see how it combined with the sumi ink, which I used the nib pen for, the dip pen. And I have to say, I absolutely love the dip pen. I've had that little sucker since I was like 10 from a calligraphy gift set someone gave me. Had never used it. And so I started using it with the sumi ink. And it does, you have to be really careful with it, especially on textured paper, because you catch a little fiber and it will like spray. But as long as you're going really slow, you're very mindful of the angle that you're holding it at. It takes a little bit of finagling to get used to, but once you do, it makes really cool texture. Like, I love how loose I keep wanting to call it fur, this feather texture is. In a micron pen, I couldn't have gotten that same effect because the dip pen lets you go really thin and also thicker, if you're careful. And a micron pen, I wasn't able to have that much variety in the line work. So yeah, super fun. And also the sumi ink, at least the one that I have, the Yasutomo, is waterproof, so that is also cool. I inked after, but you can ink before, I'm guessing. I don't know if you're not using opaque colors. I then added charcoal to the mix, and I love charcoal. I work in it with my personal work a lot. I was mostly, I don't know, it didn't work real well on the textured watercolor paper because this is cold pressed. I think hot press, it works a little bit better, but it just does not want to blend on the cold press. I knew that. I was too lazy to find hot press. But, I mean, it's still kind of fun. I like the weird texture. Like, it's a super, I don't know, not rough, but like, I don't know. I can't think of the adjective I'm looking for, but I like the texture. And my bum out with the charcoal was that I feel like it covers up the texture of the watercolor itself, because like I had sprayed water here and it made all these pretty blooms and stuff, and the charcoal kind of covers that up. And so I was thinking that it would be sad to combine charcoal and watercolor because you lose a lot of the awesome of the watercolor. But I think I was looking at it wrong. And watching my friend paint digitally under charcoal, well, I guess it wasn't over, but with charcoal. And I was thinking, it gives the charcoal color instead of covering a watercolor painting maybe use the watercolor as an underlayer to boost up awesomeness of a charcoal picture. So I think I had it backwards. The birds, if you saw this video, were spray because I caught the paper fiber like I was talking about. But you know, now we have crows, so happy, kind of happy accidents. All right, and then next I did, well, not next, I'm gonna do this one next because the other one's my favorite. So this one is ink and charcoal, Sumi ink again, and this was a lot of fun. I think I even didn't mind the scratchy texture on this one. I think it fit. I was more willing to really go after it and see what I could do with it instead of like this sad little one. And so anyway, it was an interesting combination. I like the delicate shading that you get with the ink, and then combined with the roughness of the charcoal, you know, because the ink is very smooth, I think is a lot of fun. And yeah, I think I'll definitely be using this combination in illustrations in the future, especially for like middle grade. And then my favorite one, this one was all Sumi ink, and I don't know if you saw that video. I had my little tray of inks, and I started with straight from the little pot, so full strength, and then I diluted some more, and then I diluted some of that even more, and then had just plain water. And so it's not exact, but like, I don't know, like a 75 and a 50% mix or something like that, right? And by doing that and having the separate little ink wells, it let me get the variation in the values, which was really nice. And then I also learned that I don't have to outline in straight, like full strength ink, which was kind of a dub, but I hadn't thought about it. And so using, I think it was like the 50% mix, worked a lot better, because you can see how it's really kind of intense there, and that was the full strength that I blotted. But this other line work was the half or 75, I think half. And then I loved the blooms that came. This was all an accident, and it's so pretty. And then so it acts like watercolor, which I love and didn't really expect. I mean, it's a liquid, like I should have figured, right? But I don't know, I hadn't thought about it. And so anyway, the other thing that I was noticing that I didn't anticipate was sorry, I must be caffeinated. I don't even remember having caffeine. The granulating. I had no idea Sumi ink did that. And so that was a really cool surprise, because I love when certain watercolor paints do that. Like cerulean, I want to say, and ultramarine granulate really well, I think. Don't quote me on it. But yeah, and so this was so much fun to do, and I think it has so much cool texture. So yes, we'll definitely be using just Sumi ink in the future by itself as well. Yeah, so that's about it. I hope that you enjoyed this little mini series, and if you have any questions or comments about any of this, let me know and I will try my best to answer them for you. All right, until next time.